So, a lot of people, when they're trying to think about how to maximize their time in particular, but I think this is applicable to attention and energy as well, they think, hey, it's like, I want to get more done in less time. And there's three dimensions to attack this. So you can just work more hours, like you said, forego sleep, forego seeing your family and friends, sacrifice your health. And you can redline a little bit for a while, but sooner or later, those costs are going to come home. And I've worked with a lot of really successful people, and I have to this day never seen anyone who gets more than 4 hours of work done in a day. Now, a lot of people work for more than 4 hours, but it's trees like minute by minute, summing up those minutes as far as like intense, single pointed focus on one activity. I haven't seen anyone sustain that for more than 4 hours. So I think the amount of actual work that we can do is pretty capped. And beyond that point, you're making some really costly sacrifices that mean that, hey, you're not going to be able to focus as well. You're not going to have that same level of energy. You're going to be sacrificing things in your life that are really important, that allow you to recover, that give you ideas, that remind you, hey, like, some of those little moments that remind you why you're on this planet in the first place, that the things that really matter. So, like, okay, let's remove that one, trying to work more hours. Just assume that you only have so many. The other one is like, well, I want to be more efficient. And this is where all of the productivity porn comes into play. Of, all right, I want to maximize my typing speed, and I want to, oh man, I can't even remember some of these anymore because it's been so long since I've tried them. Um, yeah, I want to speed read. Like, man, if I could speed read, I could read a couple hundred books a year. Don't even get me started on that. You think like, hey, the goal isn't to finish the book. The goal is to spend time with ideas and apply them.
Yeah, and put it
So
into use. Yeah, exactly.
put it into use. And, perhaps moving quickly isn't in most service of that. So after a little bit of while, people go through this gateway of productivity as entertainment and realize, hey, like there are real limits on efficiency. There's some early, like low hanging fruit, but at a certain point, like you just can't squeeze any more out of that apple. So this leads us to door number three, which is where I like to spend the majority of my time when I work with the client, rather than thinking about these tactics and how they can work harder. Is, are you working on the right things? So this comes back to some of the questions we've been asking today. Is, what do you value? What are you optimizing for in your life? What is your vision? What are you trying to create? Your goals. If you work backward from that vision, what are the steps that you think are going to take you there? Attention. What is relevant to achieving your goals? How do you pay attention to that? And then prioritization. Now that you understand what's most important to you, how do you make sure that that happens consistently and comes first? The classic important and non-urgent before the important and urgent. And all the other stuff in my mind is last mile, as in like you're getting 99% of the way there just by returning to this question of, you know, what should I be doing? And how do I make sure that I do those right things? So that's something that I've seen over the years, is like, that's why I pay so much attention and invest so much in my systems of planning and reflection. Now, you asked about an example from a top performer, and I don't think he'd mind using him as an example. I lived for 5 years when I was in New York with one of the top pianists in the world. His name is Eric Lewis, and is just an absolute phenom. When you see him perform, I say it's like a hurricane or a typhoon came into the room and just like had its way with the piano. It's just something to witness. Just this unleashing of energy. And if you're operating on a 1 to 10 scale in terms of just like the level of intensity that he is bringing to a performance, it is off the charts, beyond a 10. And people see him when he's performing and like, man, what's it like to live with someone like this who just has just such like depths of energy and emotion that he's able to unleash? We were talking about this previously. If you're able to shadow someone for a day, what is it actually like? It's like you'd actually be surprised is that he is only operating at this 10 plus when he's performing. He knows how to access it on demand, but you don't want to be at that state all the time. The vast majority of the time, he is recovering from performances, preparing for performances, or doing some form of deliberate practice and study to make himself better. And a lot of the time, he's operating at like a one or a two or a three, like very low capacity, because like you can't be at that level all the time. But where I see a lot of people go wrong is that they're operating at this anxious seven all the time. They can't access these levels of just like ultra top performance when they really need it. And when there's no need for it, when they're just chilling, they can't turn it off. So, this idea of the sprint rest cycle, I think, is really critical, is maximizing your engine's capacity that, like, when you're at the starting line and you're going from 0 to 60, you can do it. Like, you can totally unleash and sprint as fast as you can. But, like, as soon as you don't need to sprint, rest and recover. And a lot of people don't appreciate those because things like going and hanging out by a body of water or going for a long walk, like they don't feel like productive activities, but this recovery replenishes the well that allows you to perform. So yeah, that's something I think that a lot of people don't appreciate about performance, is that it's not just like the part above the surface that you see, the final result, the big presentation, the really impressive performance. It's all of the preparation and recovery that goes into that.